There is absolutely nothing worse than having to deal with a toxic person. A toxic person can be almost anybody. It could be a family member, it could be a best friend, it could be a friend, it could be someone that you work with, it could be your boss, and of course it could be someone you're in a relationship with, a spouse, a codependent. It's not nice to deal with toxic people. And toxic people have quite a detrimental effect on our lives, more so than you would ever possibly imagine. And what we're not really dealt with or educated very well as young children is how to deal with these sort of people, but also more importantly, how to disarm these sort of people. Toxic people are locked and loaded with weapons of abuse, manipulation, and various other horrible things like gaslighting and creating jealousy, manipulation, awful things like that. And you need to learn how to disarm them. We're not taught this as kids. When we come across bullies, we're said and told, sticks and stones may break our bones. We know that. And to avoid these sort of situations. And it's not really seen as being wrong to go to a teacher and say to a teacher, this person is abusing me, this person is disrespectful towards me. But sometimes, even in some schools, I heard recently that teachers can be abusive to kids. There was a grade A student that was doing well in every subject except for this one subject. This teacher disliked her for no apparent reason. There was no reason for this, and she just always put her down. She never spoke to her. She was always rude, always punishing her for no reason. This was a grade A student, and when the parents got involved and asked why this was happening, it turned out that this teacher was racist. And she was racist to this young girl because this young girl's ethnicity, for some reason, which was just the Mediterranean ethnicity, nothing particularly, it was just that she was from the Mediterranean, this woman wasn't. She had had a previous boyfriend who was from the same ethnicity, no relation to this girl, and she took her vengeful, awful, disgusting behaviour out on this young girl. These are toxic people, ladies and gentlemen. They exist. They're everywhere that you look, and if you're not careful, you can allow these people to really mess your lives up. Okay? That teacher has been punished since and has been treating that girl like, best student, because she is a grade A student. She's Oxford bound. So just shows you how wrong and stupid that woman was. But let's just look at some quite alarming statistics of what a toxic person, their effect can have on your life. 12% of victims of toxic people quit their job as a result. Now that could be toxic people at work or at home. They quit because they can't deal with the emotional abuse and the stress and the pain and the frustration and the anger that's being caused. 48%, almost half, had a decreased effort at work. I know this. If you're stressed out anyway and your job is stressful and it relies on you, you're self-employed, you work wherever you work, and you're dealing with a toxic person, you're going to lose motivation. You're going to lose that sort of get up and go, that desire, particularly if you're in a results-driven business, because you're just going to feel disheartened. You're going to lose motivation because dealing with a toxic person not the correct way is like hitting your head against a brick wall. You're constantly doing it, and insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And you probably are a high achiever, a successful person in your own right, or you're going to be successful. But you can't be successful with toxic people. Toxic people are not for successful people, they're for fellow toxic people. They want to bring you down to their level. 47% decrease their time at work because they're trying to solve their problems with these people. Let's say you have a toxic partner or a toxic family member. You're constantly leaving work early or taking annual leave to try and sort out whatever bloody problems that they've got. They've got insecurity, they're jealous, they're being silly, they're being immature, they're causing drama, they're constant drama queens or kings, these people. So, like I said, almost half of these people are taking even more time away from their work to try to solve problems that cannot be solved. 38% decrease their work quality. That's not a surprise there as well. Let's say you're a writer and you're supposed to be fully invested in what you're trying to create good quality content, trying to be focused, trying to be motivated, but all you've got in your head, all you've got on your phone, all you've got in your mind, in your emails, is this person gaslighting you, making you feel guilty because you're working harder, you're achieving more, and suddenly that quality goes down. There's more spelling mistakes, there's more errors. You're not focused. You're completely disorientated. You're all over the place. 68% said their performance declined. You know that you're not up to the standard that your normal self can achieve. You know that, well, actually, I can hit my targets. I can achieve these goals, but suddenly everything's just kind of gone into disarray. Why? Because you've allowed poison, you've allowed toxicity into your life, and it's seeping through your veins and it's affecting your work. 80% said they lost time worrying about it. Oh my God. Is there anything worse than going on your lunch break or even just coming home and you're sitting there and all you want to do is you just want to unwind, you want to read, you want to have some fun, you just want to enjoy yourself, okay? And all you're doing is worrying about this other person. How are they going to react to me not doing this? How are they going to react to me acting a certain way? How are they going to react to me standing up to them? 80% of these people are doing that. They're just focusing on this other toxic person and what they're going to say and do and anticipating the reaction, and what a waste of time. 80%. 63% lost time avoiding the person. Is that really a surprise? 63%. And finally, 78% said their commitment to the organisation declined because they're just completely disorientated. When you have a toxic person in your life and in your inner circle or your intimate relationship with them, it literally is poisonous. Everything that you loved, enjoyed, held in high regard, it goes out the window because you're addicted to trying to fix someone or something that cannot be fixed. These people cannot be fixed by you. You are not a psychologist, and even if you are and you're watching this, I worry for you. I'm not medically trained to be a psychologist, but I am medically trained in the sense of knowing what my bloody restrictions are and what I can and can't do. And when it starts to affect your work, then you know you're in serious trouble, because it's not only affecting your health, it's affecting your work, your time, your energy. You've only got one life. One life, that's it. You don't get a second chance. This is it. And this person, this destructive person, is destroying it. And I've got a few examples of how I've come across people like this in my life. I've had friends who have been drug addicts. I have had friends who have been gambling addicts. I have friends who are smokers, and I've had partners who have been toxic. And when I say the word toxic, I'm not saying that they literally radiated poison, but in a sort of metaphorical sense, spiritual sense, they did. The smokers, all they wanted to do was meet up and smoke. And they would do anything they could and stop anything they could that would prevent them from not smoking. A wedding almost got delayed because the smokers couldn't smoke. True story. A fabulous party, which was going to be an engagement, came crashing down due to drug addiction. A wedding of a best friend of mine was wonderful, and a month later ended up in miserable divorce due to drug addiction. My ex-partner was so toxic, she ruined everything that I loved. I'm a huge fan of Disney. I'm an annual pass member at Disneyland Paris, as I live in the UK. That means I can go to the parks on the Eurostar whenever I want. And it's an annual thing, and I like rides, I love Disney, I love the whole thing. It's a very feel-good thing for me, and I'm a huge fan. I love roller coasters as well. And I took my toxic ex to Disneyland. She had never been before, and she ruined it for me. And how she ruined it is she made it all about herself. Things that I loved and I enjoyed, maybe the food and everything, she enjoyed it, but then she had to make it all about her. She was jealous. Toxic people don't like to see you happy because they're not happy in themselves. Narcissists are prime example of that. So I know firsthand what it's like dealing with these sort of people. And there's different levels of toxic people. So many different levels. There are toxic people who are violent. There are toxic people who have abused you mentally, physically. There are toxic people that have taken advantage of you. There are toxic people that have literally thrown you to the curb because you do not give them that fix. But unfortunately, like myself, we were not educated in how to deal with these people. We were not shown that there is actually a way to deal with these people. You can fight until you're blue in the face. I've done that. You're an addict. You need to stop. You smoke too much. I don't want to smoke. You are ruining everything. Why? What is wrong with you? This is my happy place. You will end up screaming. You will end up shouting. You will end up bringing yourself down to their level. I don't believe in elitism as such, but if you're watching this, you're more than likely better than the toxic person that's in your life. And when I say better, you're healthier mentally. You have more clarity, more empathy, more sympathy, more understanding of how the world works, how society works. These people don't. Every time you're interacting with a toxic person, it's like you drinking the poison that's in this jar, in this picture, in this video. That's what you're doing. And poison spreads. It spreads to your work, your well-being, your theology, your family, your friends, everything. Until you become a toxic person too. Never argue with a fool, because from a distance, you can't tell who's who. Now, the person that's the fool might be saying something very, very stupid, but from a distance, you look the fool too. Think about that. So when you're engaging into an argument with someone who's toxic or quite immature or stupid, you're no different. If I'm walking down the street and I hear two people shouting, they're both as bad as each other. We want to prevent that. I want to show you that there is a healthier and better ways to dealing with such individuals. Remember, we do not want to defeat these people. We want to disarm them. We want to not make sure that they do not inject any more poison into our bodies, because we're better than that. You're better than that. Trust me, you are. remember to breathe. Just breathe. Take a deep breath in and out 2-3 times. Breathe. When I was dealing with toxic people, I would run to the bathroom and put on a little meditation and just breathe, recenter. Don't forget, toxic people want to get a reaction out of you. They want your heart racing. They want you to feel anxiety. They want you to feel negative. They want to disrupt your flow. You've got a flow. You've got a wonderful flow. You're out there trying to live. That's beautiful. You're trying to do things. You're trying to have a great life. And these people don't want to make you do that. They want to disrupt it. You're on a journey, you're on a path, and they just want to put a fork in the road. And that will disrupt anybody. But you got to breathe. And the next thing you got to do is you got to explain your expectations to these people. You got to tell them, I've come here for a good time, and you are ruining it. So that's my expectations. I'm not looking to fight with you, but if you're looking for a fight, it's not going to be with me. And then from doing that, the next way is to set new boundaries. I remember being in a bloody queue for a ride in Disneyland, and my ex-narcissist girlfriend accused me of looking at somebody and smiling like another woman. I'd never cheated on in my life. In fact, if she must know, I was looking at some sweet little kids just giggling and being happy. They're in bloody Disneyland. Who's not happy? And as an adult, I'm happy. She was jealous of that, but she accused me of that. So I set new boundaries at the time. I said, if you accuse me falsely of something like that again, I'm walking away and I'm doing my own thing. Confront them and describe their bad behaviour. That's gaslighting. That's trying to evoke jealousy. That's insecurity. If they're swearing and they're being rude, say, hey. That's unacceptable behaviour. You have no right to act the way you are. That's wrong. You call them out on it and you say, no, that's wrong. This is where you've gone wrong. You've been rude. You've shouted. You've caused the scene. You're causing drama for attention. That's wrong. I will not tolerate that. And then they might kick up a bit of a fuss, but if you've explained it calmly, observe how they act. If they do it again, not exactly in the same way, observe it. Watch what they do, not what they say. It's very, very easy to say, okay, sorry, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's great. But if they keep repeating the same actions over and over again, that's not good. You want to prevent that. Get out of yourself like you're watching a documentary or reality TV of yourself and see, okay, they were rude here. An hour later, they're rude again. This is regularly happening now. This is not good. And you punish them for it. And by punishing them, say what you're going to do. I was out with my ex-narcissist elsewhere, and I don't even remember how it happened, but I said we're going to go this way. We were walking a certain way. It was a nice sunny day, and she started getting violent and pinching my arm and scratching me, saying, no, I'm not going anywhere. And I pulled my arm away from her and I said, I'm walking away from you. How dare you do such a thing? And I walked away. For hours. It drove her mad. I didn't answer the phone. I didn't speak to her. And then she resurfaced and she came back. She said, I hated being apart from you. I said, good. You do not do that to me again. Stand up for yourself. Toxic people are toxic in general, but they'll be more toxic with you if they think they can get away with it. They can't. Have some respect for yourself. You deserve it. Remember, walk away and take a break. If it's unbearable, you don't want to be the fool who nobody knows who's who. You're better than that. So you're not getting anywhere with them. You've explained yourself, whatever. Take a break. Walk away. Calm down. These people will drive you to a level where you cannot come back. I've punched walls. I've almost crashed my car. I've screamed at the top of my lungs. I've been pushed beyond my limit by toxic people. And if you notice something, the real sickos out there, they smirk and smile, seeing you completely disjointed, completely upset, completely in agony. Not everyone is like that, but they can be. That's why it's so important to control your anger and take a break. Go and recenter with nature. Parks, for me, have been some of the most therapeutic places over the last couple of years. I've had a stressful couple of years. Life is stressful. It's difficult. But taking a walk in the park, no phone, no distractions, nothing. Just listening to the sound of birds, trees, and stillness. Even lakes, rivers. Some of the most beautiful sounds in the world. There's a reason why nature sounds are so therapeutic and used in meditations and for people to heal and to recenter. Ultimately, what we're trying to do here is something that is easily one of the hardest things most human beings struggle with. And it's that old age saying, respond, do not react. What's the difference here? Say I call you stupid. You have two choices. You can respond, well, you're stupid too. You're an idiot. Who are you to call me that? You have a stupid voice. You are annoying. You're boring. You're this. You're that. That's responding. We don't want to do that. We want to be better than that, remember, guys. This is about disarming a toxic person. That's just adding fuel to the fire. The toxic person is a fire. And every response, every insult is just another log of wood being thrown onto this huge bonfire. And it's growing and it's growing and it's growing to the point where it will just tower over you. And it will incinerate you and burn you to a crisp. Whereas you can choose to react. Let's go to the same situation. You are stupid. Thank you for your input. You are really stupid. I see how you feel. Thanks for your input. No, you're the most stupidest idiot I've ever met in my life. Okay. Thanks for your advice. Anything else? When you act like that and you respond, overreact, your life changes with a toxic person. You have to be in touch with what's going on. And what's going on is a toxic person is trying to poison you. Now, it could be unconsciously. They could just be a genuinely awful human being. They could just be very disrespectful, rude, horrible, harsh, whatever. It doesn't really matter. They're bad people for you and for your tranquility and your peace and your health. Remember the stats. We want to respond not react. They throw an insult at you, you say, okay, thank you. They say another, I appreciate your input. You're the worst human being I've ever met, they say. I'll say, you're probably right. Oh, I hate you, I never want to see you again. No problem, that's fine. And that's a good thing if they say that. Well, you see the world this way. I see it a different way. Well, let's agree to disagree. We're not going to get on, but there's no point in falling out of it anymore. Let's move on. Understanding how to disarm a person that's toxic is some of the most powerful things and lessons you can learn in your life. Only recently was I psychologically abused by a very close family member. For no reason they attacked me because guess what? They had hit the bottle, they started getting drunk, and they thought, I know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to unleash a hurl of abuse in this person's direction because I'm not happy with my life, so why should they be happy with theirs? But I was so proud of myself because I didn't respond in a way that they wanted me to. I did things exactly the way that I wanted to. I didn't react by crying, I didn't react by shouting, screaming, hurling abuse back, telling them to go away, to swear at them, nothing like that at all. I asked one simple question and I just said, how long have you been feeling this way towards me? How long have you been thinking that I'm inferior, not good enough, ugly, all of these horrible things? They said, I've been feeling like this for a while. I said, okay. Took a deep breath, walked away. Haven't spoken to them since. This is a friend I've had for 3 decades. Family friend. You don't need people like that. Walking away and no contact is obviously a very, very key thing to seriously toxic people. But we're talking about the initial stages of disarming. Remember, a toxic person can improve in rare occasions by realizing that they have no way of getting to you. But they'll push the limits. They'll see how much they can get away with. Especially if you stand up for yourself. The more you stand up for yourself, the more they're going to push those boundaries. The more they're going to see, what can I get away with next? I insulted his family this time. Maybe I'll insult his work or his looks or whatever. It's a never ending. Take a deep breath. Explain your expectations. Set new boundaries. Stand up for yourself and confront them. Describe and tell them their bad behaviour. Observe how they act after doing so. Punish them and put them in their place if they still persist. Walk away, take a break, take a breather if it becomes unbearable. Remember to respond, not react. Okay, thanks. I appreciate your input. You're probably right. No problem, that's fine. Let's agree to disagree. Ultimately, ask yourself this question. If this person is toxic in any capacity whatsoever, what am I doing dating them, working with them, being with them, hanging around with them, trusting them? You don't need people like that. I'm living proof that there are better, more quality, healthier alternatives, friends-wise, relationship-wise, work-wise, than these individuals. They have come into your life to teach you a lesson. So pat yourself on the back for learning it, because that is how to disarm a toxic person. I swear to you, it doesn't make sense to you now, but you will find somebody better. Everything will be fine. Stop making these people affect your work, your life, your peace, your tranquility. I even take great pleasure in just reading a book now, with no stress, no drama anymore. Just reading a book. And I've returned to my happy place many times since. And it's just been pure joy, pure bliss. You can do this, guys. I believe in you. I'm living proof that it is possible and it is easy to disarm a toxic person in your life. Thank you.